decided to do one of my impromptu lives. Impromptu lives it is, because tomorrow is a big energy deal, apparently. So it said. Portal reset, 8-8, all of this stuff. A lot of researches on this thing, and is it going to make any difference to you? What does it mean? So let me give you my slant on it for what that is worth. For what it is worth. So firstly, I will be doing a live tomorrow to actually help you to reset your energy, should you wish to choose to do so. And what does this mean from an energy perspective? So these big shifts are a chance to really factory reset your energy. That's what we're talking about here. This is the sort of stuff we're talking about to manage to completely reset your energy. Factory reset, my Jedi friends, that's what we're going to do. And this is an opportunity because for whatever reason, planetary alignment, numerologically significant, all of your archangels lining up, queuing up to help you on the journey, whatever it means for you, it doesn't matter. What it means for me is that it's a chance for you to completely change your life. There you go. There you go. Let's cut through all of that. And you don't necessarily need an 8-8 portal or a full moon on Saturday for you to do that. But if you are tuned into energy, you'll realize that these things can amplify your energy. So I have Lady Love in the portal. Yes, the 8-8 portal is here. Absolutely in the studio with Lady Love. It is indeed, my Jedi friend. So you will understand the significance of the numerologically significant time for us all, for especially empaths and people that are sensitive to energy, to completely reset their energy. And that's what it's about. That is what this is about. It's a chance for an energy reset. Now, you can reset your energy anytime you like, but it's more powerful when all of the planets align during a portal or whatever it is. So in the studio with Lady Love is back. Chosen one chooses themselves. Absolutely. Well, you will know that. You will know that. Now, I wouldn't say I was necessarily a chosen one. What I would say is that I am the lunatic that's quite happy to go live and talk about this stuff without worrying about what anyone's going to say about it. So there you have it. We all play our different role with all that different cog in the works of the grandfather clock as it ticks away, So what this is, because people that are sensitive to energy will probably be going through some really savage vibrational shift stuff at the moment, and you'll be feeling it in your body and your mind. So you'll be having major resets, things going wrong, all sorts of stuff, bringing up trauma. Bringing up real trauma and pain, physical pain in your body. Plant Lady is in the house. Well, welcome back, Plant Lady, my ever-present Jedi friend. I think that you must get straight the alarm as soon as these go on. I feel like shit today. Thanks for reminding me to help myself. Well, fair play to you, Plant Lady. We're going to help you to help yourself on this thread. So Amber Duncan McLean is in the house and says hi. Well, hello, Amber. Nice to have you here, my Jedi friend. We are here to help with each other's energy. So let's talk about this when we amplify energy. So when you get a group of people together with a single mission or purpose, then they naturally amplify each other's energy. So however good at this stuff that you are or not, as the case may be, it always helps to do it in groups, which is why I do these lives. So Lady Love is back. It just may be the lunatic I'm looking for. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we're all lunatic on this journey, aren't we? Especially the people that are into this kind of stuff, because, I've talked about this on other streams that I do. The people that will understand the title of this and will be drawn towards it are either, they fall into two categories. One, people that resonate with this, which will be probably around about 1% of the population. And I'm just pulling a figure out of thin air. Let's say 1%. And trolls. They're the two people that are going to get attracted to a title like this. And when people are sensitive to energy, it's being able to deal with the trolls whilst getting the important message out to the people that it's actually designed for, which is what I'm here for. So Lady Love is back. It's a frequency exchange. We sound crazy to the average programmed individual. Well, this is it. And I think it's really important for people to understand this more so than anything else that I teach. That the people that understand energy, people that are sensitive to it, empaths, who feel stuff, and sometimes you share it with others, could be your friends or your family, and not many people get it. You're probably used to people's eyes glazing over for them going, oh, here we go. They're off on one of their woo-woo threads or stuff like this. A lot of throwaway comments with people that don't get it. And it can get you to question your entire reality and who you are. And this is the issue that a lot of people that are here for a bigger purpose have to deal with, is plowing through the doubt. Plowing through the doubt, my Jedi friends, because there's plenty of trolls. There's plenty of doubters. There's plenty of dense individuals. And I mean that from an energy perspective. People with a lower frequency, a lower vibration that just don't get it. You talk about things like portals and they have already got you down. In fact, if you were here like 300-400 years ago, you'd be burned at the stake for a witch. There you go. That's how we've evolved, my Jedi friends. You're not quite burnt at the stake, but you are online. You're pretty much burnt online now. So you'll be discredited or whatever it is that goes with this kind of stuff. But this is normal. This is normal in my world. I spent my whole life feeling differently, asking different questions, doing different things, being guided down a different path. And most people think I'm a lunatic for it. And at this stage in the game, I own the fact that I am a lunatic. I am a lunatic, my Jedi friends, and I will wear that mantle well because I understand that most of the population will see me through that lens. And there's no point shying away from it. There's no point trying to run from it. There's no point trying to fight it. You just have to meet people where they are and embrace it. And that's effectively what I'm doing. That is why I'm here, my Jedi friends, and that is what I'm doing. So I would say bring it on. I'm guessing that most people that are listening to this thread do get what I'm talking about, and the message is for you. And you probably share this message with your audience, and maybe you have the same cynical things to deal with when you try and share it with like close friends or family, especially family. And for the record, none of my family, not one of them, have any idea what I'm about. Not even close. Not even close. In fact, I've trained myself not to talk about all of the stuff that I talk about on this channel with any of them. Not any of them, because they just don't get it, my Jedi friends. So Lady Love is back. Absolutely. I just let them think that there's witches and lunatics running around, and I'm one of them. Lol. If love, light, and truth and power is witchcraft, then where's my broom? Lol. Well, Lady Love, I will see you on Halloween, and I will bring my full warlock kit. We can go out and terrify the world together. How's that? We can hang out in the woods and have pagan dances and things like that with the nature spirits and the fairies. How's that? All are welcome for the midnight dances and the potion brewing ceremony. I've heard it all, and I'm sure you have as well. It just keeps it interesting, keeps it real. That's what it's all about. So yeah, everyone's got their own slant on this kind of stuff, but I've realized now that there are people that need to get their game together. And part of that is realizing that they're absolutely not mad. And it's very easy to think that you are when you're surrounded with people that do not get it. They're not vibrating at the same frequency as you. They're not going through the same challenges. They don't see the world the same way as you. That's just the way that they rock. And Lady Love is back. I'm in my favorite lunatic, lol. You choose the late night forest. Absolutely. Well, you can bring your lunacy anywhere. It is universally applicable to wherever I decide to show up. So it could be houses, I can do events, I can do lunatic forest gatherings. It doesn't matter. I bring my lunacy to shine it, to shine that lunatic light wherever I happen to go, but really to own it as well. And part of the lunatic live experience has been interesting, because especially when I do my later streams, we get all sorts of interesting characters on. We get loads of interesting characters on my late night ones, and I've learned to have absolutely no attachment to anything that happens on them. We just rock with the flow. So I have Eileen James on saying hi. Well, hello, Eileen. Thank you for joining the thread. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing your energy and light on this little live that we're doing at the moment. So since you're just turning up, let me just summarize what we've talked about so far. Lunacy, that's it. How one person's philosophy or spirituality is another person's lunacy. That's effectively what we've covered on the thread so far. And that most people that resonate with energy and energy portals and aligned full moons and all of the other kind of stuff that we talk about on this channel are probably considered lunatics by most of the population. And getting used to dealing with that is part of the life lesson. It is part of the life lesson, my Jedi friends. So we have to learn to deal with the doubters, to deal with the haters, to deal with the very dense frequency of people that will just never, ever, ever get what it is that we're talking about on here. And I've given up, not given up, I've just lost interest in attempting to explain this stuff to people that just are not vibrationally ready to hear it. And there you go. That's it. That's the message. Job done. Job done, my Jedi friends. That's what it's all about. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about all of this stuff. So there is a portal tomorrow night. What does it actually mean? Well, let's just talk about that. What it means is that it's a much more powerful way to amplify your energy if you're going to have a factory reset to your energy field. And how do you do it? What does all this mean? All this language, reset, energy portals, here we go, full moons, energy alignment, blah, 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 blah. How do I explain that to, say, a 5-year-old? I would explain it to say, this is a chance to do the things that you love and to focus on the things that you love. And anyone that's telling you anything to do stuff that you don't love or not, is time to stop listening to them and to start aligning with all the things that light you up. There you go. Job done. That's what we're here to do. And people that are sensitive to energy are so caught up, usually, with the needs or the wants of the people around them. What everyone else wants you to do, what everyone else expects of you, of the stuff that everyone else is telling you, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that. And before you know it, you're being drawn into a very dense energy of doing things or thinking things that you don't love, that don't resonate with you, that aren't even right for you. But you want to fit in, you are highly empathic, you want to keep everybody happy to the best of your capabilities. And at a certain stage, it just starts to steal energy from your soul. So that's what we're actually talking about. That is the practical manifestation of it all. So in the studio with Lady Love again, I bet you get a ton of different energies. Lunacy frequency is my favorite. Lol. That dense level of consciousness that most living does not compute any longer. Lol. Well, it does for a certain demographic, Lady Love. You know the score here. So for most people, they're just never going to get it. They're living on a different frequency and a different vibration. And what it can be actually quite lonely, the awakening process for people that are sensitive to energy. It's a bit like you take off the rose tinted glasses and you start seeing the world in a different light, and no one else seems to see it. And it's easier to accuse you of being a lunatic than it is for people to wake up en masse. So once you understand that this is what you're dealing with, then life gets a lot easier. It's a lot easier to be a lunatic. And for the record, for someone that actually grew up in a bona fide lunatic asylum, my parents were both nuts and they were both psychiatric nurses. So we grew up within the grounds of a psychiatric hospital. True story. And when I used to go to school, and all of the kids at school used to say, "Oh, look, it's a lunatic on day release. They're from the asylum. They're from the asylum." So, because my parents were always fighting and they were always nuts themselves, I used to speak a lot to the patients in the asylum, and there was a freedom with them that I rarely saw anywhere else, because they've been judged. Everyone thinks they're a lunatic. They've got nothing to lose through being themselves and being authentically themselves. And that's just the way that they rock. That is the way that they rock. So, I learned a lot from extreme judgment or people that had been deemed lunatics by society, by everybody else. So that is the way that they roll, and that's where it was coming from. A lot of truth was given to me by psychiatric patients growing up. That explains a lot, doesn't it? So yeah, I can wear my lunatic mantle with pride. I can wear it with pride, embrace the lunacy, because we live in a global lunatic asylum. And for those of you not familiar with the content on my channel, you'll know that I've been saying this for years and years and years, that we live in a bona fide lunatic asylum. So Lady Love is back. Oh my, your parents were a lot like mine, only mine were American, three-letter agencies. All by design, my lunatic friend. Well, you know as well as I do, Lady Love, that we chose this path. Much as I say to myself in this manifestation, in my forgettedness, if that's even a word, that we come here, we forget that we agreed to do all of this stuff. We agreed to have the challenges that we did in this lifetime. I keep saying to myself, why would I ever agree to this much lunacy? Tom Mack is in the house. Hello, Tom. Welcome back. I'm a pikey. Well, welcome back, my pikey friend. There's a lot to be said for that, especially watching Snatch, isn't there? It's one of my favourite films. What a great film that was. And let's face it, Tyson Fury's a pikey, and I'm not going to argue with him either. Lady Love is back. Amnesia. Well, that's what it is. We come in here. I think there's a term for it, that we are crawl-ins. Means that we come in here with no memory of why we're here, and we have to work it all out from scratch. And somewhere along the way, I realized that I chose this existence for whatever reason. And I've asked myself a lot of times, why would I do this to myself? Why would I choose this much lunacy to come into? But apparently there's a bigger purpose for it. So, so be it. Bring it on. Bring it on. And it's only through being subjected to so much lunacy that I can do streams like this. This is what it's all. And Tom Max says, break top. There's actually a really good video, Tom. I don't know if you've seen it. That somebody has mixed Star Wars and Snatch and turned Darth Vader into Brick Top. And if you type in Snatch Wars, you're in for an absolute treat, a real treat. They've turned Darth Vader into Brick Top. Go and put the kettle on now. And Lady Love says, ha ha ha, Tom. Yes, Tom's been on my streams before. He knows what he's doing. So, and Lady Love says, Snatch Wars. Yeah, I'm in love. Well, you all know as well as I do that if you're on this path, you have to keep a healthy sense of humor. And I've spent a lot of my life laughing. My dad was Irish, and I could never have a serious conversation. He'd managed to turn everything into some sort of comedy lunacy. And having to deal with my mum, I understood why that was a good way. that was a good skill set to have. So Tom Max says, gotta laugh. Have you seen Snatch Wars, Tom? I suspect that you probably have, haven't you? It's about 10 minutes of pure comedy gold of turning Darth Vader into Brick Top. Feed them to the pigs. Do you know what nemesis means? a righteous infliction of retribution. Well, we have gone off on a segue. Well, you will do that when we go down the Snatch path, down the Snatch Wars path, my Jedi friends. So there you go. Never saw that coming, but it is Jedi, isn't it? It's Darth Vader as a pikey. So, Lady Love, even better, I can watch these Snatch Wars on film. Do you think there's a lot of ass slapping? Please say yes. Well, I'm sure you'll find all sorts on Snatch Wars, Lady Love. And if you find any interesting ones with all the ass slapping, then please do post the links. I'm sure a few people will appreciate that as we raise our vibration for the 8-8 portal. That's one way to raise the vibration, isn't it? So, Lady Love, I will, what's that? Seek you. I will seek you the furthest extent, love. We'll get on that, lad, says Tom Mac. And Lady Love says, always share in my vibrational ascension. It will be sure to post. Well, they're the sort of vibrations that we didn't see getting raised today, but you've got to go with the flow of these things. And for the record, if you're into that sort of brand of lunacy, there's even, and if you are a fan of the film Withnail and I, now if you don't know Withnail and I, just watch it first before you even attempt to do this. But some genius has turned Star Wars and Withnail and I. They've changed the Star Wars characters to various Withnail and I characters. And my favorite funny, but they turned C3PO into Withnail, and they turned Yoda into the drug dealer. It's one of the funniest things. I showed it to my friend Amanda when she came over to London. We were sitting in the middle of a pub, and I showed her this video, and she was in tears laughing. Everybody just stopped and was staring at the two of us. Two of us just rolling around laughing in the middle of the pub, because I made her watch Star Wars Withnail and I, where they turned Yoda into the drug dealer. It's one of the funniest video mashups that I've ever seen, and it was one of my dad's favorites. So there you go. So Lady Love is back. Oh no, not Yoda the drug dealer. I love it. Well, you'll love it even more if you understand Withnail and I, Lady Love. That is a legend. It's an iconic film. I think it's from the 70s or early 80s. It's Richard E. Grant, and him and Paul McGann play a couple of down and out alcoholics. They've got no money, and the whole thing is about them having no money. And being alcoholics. It's one of the funniest things. It's a great film. It's like an iconic film that's done the test of time. And for purists of that, what I loved about it is that Richard E. Grant played an alcoholic. He's actually allergic to alcohol, and the director of the film insisted that he had a drink so that he knew what he was doing when he played an alcoholic, and it nearly killed him. He had an allergic reaction to the alcohol, and it nearly killed him. So there you go. There you go. So Tom Mac, listen, Lady Love, leave it out. Lady Love says, lol, Tom, I won't. I'm very interested, lol. And Tom says, ah. Well, Tom, looks like you'll be joining us in the woods for our incantations with the nature spirits for Halloween, which we decided is probably going to be the way forward. That lunatics may have to just embrace it. Yeah, even pikeys are welcome, Tom. So you're all right. You're probably in the woods anyway. We'll just come round to your house and join in. Well, this wasn't quite the ascension I was expecting, but I should have known better than to expect anything. Yes, in the woods with Lady Love. Well, I think there's probably a film or a series in there, Lady Love. There's certainly a YouTube live stream that I think we'd probably go viral on. It's definitely got a it's got a ring to it. Well, I'll have to have some herbal tea on that one. Excuse me. So yes. Well, as I say, and Tom Mack says, I'm eating squirrels. Well, if you can catch the squirrels, Tom, I'll be well impressed. Be very well impressed. So, Lady Love, you've inspired my next screenplay. Well, it's got viral written all over it with a headline like that. I can see it doing the rounds. It'll probably be your most watched video, regardless of what content you put on. That's a winning title. That is a winning title. That'll be some studio that you have there for certain. It's all good, friendly fun. You know, at some stage during this stream, for anyone that's sort of late to the party, it did start almost seriously. We did start almost seriously, and we were talking about the portal, energy amplification, all of the other stuff that goes with that, being prepared for it, factory reset of your energy. But then we just segued in a completely different direction. So it may not be quite what it said on the tin at this stage in the game. So as long as I've got Tom eating squirrels, we've got it. Well, Tom, you know, now you've bigged yourself up. You're going to have to get the squirrels in now, aren't you? If you're my generation, you'll remember an advert for Harvest Crunch bars. This guy used to open. They were like nutty snack bar. He used to open up the Harvest Crunch bar, and all these squirrels used to turn up. It was like Ace Ventura of squirrels. So there you go, having flashbacks to my past. And Tom says, "Lady Love, stop it!" Ha. Lady Love, I may not be a genius on this, but I say Tom is already on his way to your studio with all of this flirty talk. And he'll be bringing his squirrels with him. Well, there you go. That's what the 8-8 portal does. It brings together like-minded lunatics for friendly fun and shenanigans. I remember those, lol. I feel him getting closer to the squirrels too. Tom already is. He's off the chat. He's already on his way. Well, that got that side that went down a different segue pretty quickly. Time for more tea, Vicar. Well. So, where were we? So what did we discuss? For people that are late to the party here, let me just summarize what you've missed out on in the last almost half an hour. So we started off by talking about energy portals, 8-8, luckiness, and ways to reset your energy. And we've now gone down a completely separate path. So, but seriously, shenanigans aside, thank you for the 8-8 portal stream. You are a really neat energy I want more of. Why, thank you, Lady Love. Well, that is a very kind endorsement of you. And Tom Max says, is it love that I'm feeling? Or is this love? Well, if you can't get a bit of love into the 8-8 portal, Tom, what is the point? You know, we're here to facilitate your transition into higher energy vibes, and there's no higher energy than the energy of love. Love is the frequency that we start. I mean, there are, of course, higher energies than love, but everything starts from love and above on a frequency scale. that hitting love is like your minimum entry. Once you hit the love vibration, then things start to shift. Things start to shift, and you get into the love vibration by stopping taking life too seriously and to start to focus on things that you do love, which in my case at the moment is drinking tea and doing live streams positioned as a random lunatic on YouTube, pretending that it's about some 8-8 portal that most people are never going to understand or particularly get, and maybe mention something about energy somewhere down the line. And Lady Love says, Tom, you know it is. Love, light, and intense base chakra energy is my forte. Well, there you go. Base energy, forte, and it's base chakra, Tom. It's base chakra. It's all good. It's all good. Who can argue with that? That's the top level. So from a vibrational energy point of view, so I think there's a frequency level that goes all the way up. And most people's frequency is round about the 1 to 200 mark, round about 1 to 200. Love frequency is round about, it's just over 500. I think it's about 550. Not sure of the exact figure. But if you are energizing love in a moment, then you've hit the 500, and then beyond that is moving into more transcendent energy, which I know sounds a little bit out there. It sounds a bit out there, doesn't it? But love is your access route. So by focusing on fun, on things that you love, on doing things that you love, that is the way to actually amplify. And that is the call. That is the call of the 8-8 portal, to start focusing on more things that make you feel good, that bring you towards love, that bring you towards having fun, to being lighter, and all of the above. So there you go. So Tom says, it's getting a bit much. Hold back. Lady Love says, like Lady Love, get your base chakra off me. Oh, I know it gets intense. I'll tone it down a bit. Well, Tom, you weren't expecting that, were you? You weren't expecting that, a bit of base chakra energy from Lady Love. Well, who can turn that down? Especially on a live stream on YouTube. There you go. You'd be just surprised what you can tune into on these lives. Keeps it interesting, folks. It certainly does. It keeps it interesting. We've even had some Snatch Wars and Withnail and I Star Wars intervention. And I really do recommend all of those videos if you fancy something lighter. So I grew up in the Monty Python era. So here's a little story for you. So when I was 5 years old was when they released Monty Python and Holy Grail. My dad put it on. And we got to the Black Knight scene where he cut off all the, where he got all his limbs cut off. And I was laughing so hard that we had to pause the video because I couldn't breathe. And my dad said, I realized that was going to be, that you were going to be all right. Lady Love, oh my God, Snatch Wars. Tom Mac, my head's battered. Which one, Tom? Stop it, Adam. Stop it. No, this is a serious spiritual thread. We're talking about ascension and high energy vibes. So let's go back. Factory reset. Isn't that what we were talking about anyway? Factory resetting our energy, which is what this is all about. So getting in a lighter vibe for tomorrow is exactly what we all need to do. So the vibe of where this thread has gone is actually perfect in its own way, shape and form. So Lady Love said I was going to ask which one as well. I beat you to it, Lady Love, only because I didn't have to type. So Laura is in the house. Heyo, question about the 8-8. Is it in any way different from the last 2 years? That's a good question. So it's only different in the same way that reaching a finish line is running a marathon. So no is really, because you're still running the marathon. The only difference now is that we can see some sort of end to this part of the journey. So if you are sensitive to energy, the last 2 years, you'll be feeling the vibrational shift. You will have been feeling really serious, heavy duty stuff going on in your world. So relationships will have ended, jobs will have ended, things will collapse down, your entire reality. You've probably, in fact, almost definitely fallen out with significant family members. You're waking up and nobody else seems to, and you're probably feeling quite lost, lonely, and isolated. Or if you're not feeling that now, you will have felt that over the last 2 years. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Correct me if I'm wrong. So in many ways, no, it's not going to be different from the last 2 years. But what is going to be different is this is a genuine time to actually wake up and stop caring about all the trauma that's happened. That your whole world has had to be disrupted for a reason. It's had to be disrupted for a reason. And now is time to actually start embracing the good side of it, which you probably haven't even acknowledged up until now because it's been so traumatic. So hopefully that answers your question. Lady Love says, yes, factory reset for sure. And Laura says, yeah, my engagement broke down and I moved back to my country, went through a dark night void for a few months. No surprise there. No surprise there at all, Laura. So let's explain it from this point of view. Some people are very sensitive to energy and came here for a bigger purpose, which you probably haven't woken up to yet. It's completely normal. It's okay. And now that the energy shift of the planet is happening, we need people around who are actually holding the space for this transition. So you are a little bit like, if we take energy as a phone network, for example. So you're like a relay station. You're holding the frequency wherever in the world that you are. And you're going through trauma because you're waking up to the reality that, like, the life as most people know it is just not real. That our frequency is changing, the vibration is raising, the reality, the mask, the matrix, call it what you will, is revealing itself now. And you can see that. You can see all of the lunacy going on in the world. And in order to facilitate that, your world as you knew it had to break down. Had to break down. I'll be very surprised if there's not anybody that's highly sensitive to energy, empathic, that hasn't had a complete meltdown over the last couple of years. So let's just say it as it is. That is the way that we roll, my Jedi friends. So we've got threads like this, channels like this, lives like this, just to remind people that you're not alone on this journey. You're really not. That this is, it's a universal thing for people that need to wake up, for empaths right now. So, you know, it's certainly happened to me. Complete family breakdown, complete change, many meltdowns in many different levels. And transparently, you know, that's brought me to a point where I actually started feeling suicidal. And when I say feeling suicidal, I mean, there's completely different from being suicidal. I was never seriously ever going to take my life, but I was feeling the energy of what it was like to feel suicidal, because in my reality, like, death is just another step to the to another vibrational frequency. So, you know, that was my meltdown. I had to hit that point, that rock bottom, and then I bounced, and suddenly I didn't fear anything. And that's where I am now. So it had to have the breakdown to get the breakthrough. Breakdown to break through. And that is what's happening to a lot of people at the moment, or has done over the last couple of years. So there you go. So there you go, my Jedi friend. That is where we're at. So Laura says, nodding along. Also, sorry for disturbing the jovial vibe. Well, it's okay, Laura. This vibe, I mean, we're going on this thread wherever the energy takes us. And, you know, your question is very valid, because if you're feeling that, you can be odds on that everybody else listening to this has probably gone through the same thing, and it's probably just as relevant. And it won't take long with Tom and Lady Love on the on things to change the vibe back up once we've addressed what is a very serious issue. And it's a really good thing to be bringing this up as well. Because ultimately, these are the challenges that empaths or highly sensitive people have to go through. And we have to bring this up. We have to talk about this stuff. So Tom says, my Jedi ship accepts no passengers. See, it didn't take long to change that vibe back up. So there you go. And Laura says, glad to hear you're still here. Well, it's a real pleasure, Laura. And what you realize on this journey is that we're born with two families. There's the one that you're born into, and you're there to deal with all of the bullshit and to end the family genetical domino bullshit effect. And there's your soul family, your spirit family, your vibe tribe, which you find in places like this through people that are all waking up to the same thing. And things had to break down in their other family lives and their other lives so that they could all connect and then start re-energizing the global grid, or call it what you want. Call it what you want. You're here on the earth to hold the space, to help the vibration of the planet raise, whether that makes sense or not. It is what it is, and that's my reality. So there you go. There you go. A little summary of it all. That's where we're at, my Jedi friends. That's where we're at. So hopefully that makes sense in between dancing in the forest with nature spirits and waving our, what was it, our magic wands or our broomsticks around for the rest of the population to pass judgment upon. It just keeps life interesting, doesn't it? And in my reality, if your life isn't, if the highlights of your life wouldn't make an interesting film, then you're not living it properly. So in our lives, we are the author, we're the lead actor, we are the director, we are the producer. And if your life, if you look back at it now and you think this wouldn't make a film script, then you're not living enough. And this is what the awakening is for. This is what these portal openings are for, to jolt you into action. A bit like with cardiac resuscitation, getting the paddles on. Energy vault through the body. Is this person ready to live? Are they still with us? Are they coming back? So these are the sort of things that we all have to navigate. So there you have it. There is the sort of unfoldment of where we're at and what it's all about. Whether that is the unfoldment of where we're at and what it's all about, well, that's just my reality on it, which could be a load of rubbish. And I'm sure there's at least 99% of the population that will believe that to be the case. But I am long enough in the tooth now not to worry about the people who aren't ready to hear what I have to say or to share. So there you go. And if you are ready to hear it, then that is why we do these things. That's why I'm here, my Jedi friends, to prepare you for the factory reset, which is coming up. And that starts tomorrow. And it's going to be a very interesting weekend ride for people that are on this journey. So there you have it. So, Laura, now I think you make a lot of sense. Also, nonsense is also sense. Well, one person's nonsense is another person's sense. And there you have it, my Jedi friends. Just because people don't believe in something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So there you have it. And I look at things like religion from somebody that has no attachment to any religion. You know, how can everybody be right? How can it be so many gods? How can they all be right? How can they all be divine? How can they be so divided? So divided. So anyway, but that's another story for another day. And I don't really want to get lynched just yet. So I'm going to stay neutral on that one. Stay neutral, Adam. Stay neutral, which is exactly where it's at. So there's good and bad people from all parts of the world. And that is just the reality of it. In all shapes, sizes, and colours, my Jedi friends. That's the ways that people divide themselves. I mean, are lunatic in themselves. There's good people, there's high vibe people, and there's low vibe people, and that's how I distinguish who I'm going to be hanging out with and who I'm not. So, John says you are from Essex, Hertfordshire. Well, John, you're on the money there. Yes, I am from Hertfordshire. I'm from sunny Hearts. I'm from the Shires. And if I was a few inches taller, I'd be a hobbit walking around in my bare feet as I do these little threads. There I am, hobbiting around, got nothing better to do on a Thursday afternoon. I'm assuming you're from the same place, are you, John? Who knows? Well, It doesn't really matter where we're at because YouTube brings us all together. It brings us all together in this moment. Does it not? Are you on PIP? What is PIP? I don't know what PIP is. PIP. You'll have to explain yourself, John. These little acronyms are above my comprehension for knowing what they are. Am I a PIP? A PIP? Am I on PIP? Are you on PIP? Well, I'm not on anyone at the moment, PIP or anyone else. Personal independence payments. If you don't know, then you don't know. It's a government payment. No, I don't get anything from the government, John. Nothing, not a penny. Never claimed, even during lockdown. So when I probably could have done, probably shoulda, woulda, coulda, but I didn't. So there you go. Are you on PIP, John? Are you a PIP? Is that what you're doing here? I don't know. I don't even know what a PIP is, apart from personal independence payments. So Adam, you are a titan. Thanks, John. Probably a lunatic would be more appropriate, but you never know. Gladys Knight and the Pips, says John. Well, there you go. We're going back in time now. Now we're traversing. I actually watched a video last week of it was all the number ones. I watched a couple of videos, all the number ones from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. That was great. You just got a few seconds of every single number one that done. It's it was a classic era for music. So yeah, I grew up. I spent a lot of my teens and 20s listening to 60s music. I was really drawn to that era. But then it was the free love era, wasn't it? You know, my dad always said. My dad had a great story. So here's one from the archives, folks, that I drag out. So my granddad was a war hero. He won the Distinguished Flying Cross for being in the RAF, being a navigator on Bomber Command, and his dad won the Military Cross for being in the army during the Boxer Rebellion. And my dad was encouraged to go and join the army, and he didn't last very long in the army. And I asked him once, I said, Dad, you know, you had all these war heroes in your family, you know, they obviously sent you to the army. What made you change your mind? He said, listen, son, he said, I was in the army during the 60s. He said, and I was looking over all these things of people having free love, peace and love. And they were simultaneously telling me that the average battle life of somebody in a tank regiment was about 9 minutes. He said, I thought, what am I doing here? Made perfect sense. There you go. John says, I like the zombies. It's that time of the season from St Albans. Well, John, I am down the road in London Coney. So there you go. I was born in St Albans. Born in sunny St Albans, and I lived there for plenty of years. I used to live in Albert Street, so just off the Holywell Hill. There you go, John. Who'd have thought it? Have our paths crossed? Quite possibly, by the sound of it, since I grew up in all of this area. Let's have a look. Laura, time is relative. Time is relative as well. And for anyone else off the threads, like St Albans has great significance. So for anyone with any sort of historical background or interest. So St Albans was one of the first towns that was colonized by the Roman Empire. And when Boudica rose up against the Romans, she came in and sacked St Albans. So there you go. So John said, I saw one of your shorts in St Albans. Well, fair play to you, John. So you know the score. And here's another thing: the Wars of the Roses kicked off in St Albans. So that was a big, significant part of time. The first battle was in St Albans, in the High Street. So there you go. It all kicked off in St Albans. The Wars of the Roses. And they were long and acrimonious, my Jedi friends, all these warring times from the past. So there you go. Very historical time, very historical town with great significance. And I had great fun actually going on a Halloween tour in St Albans a couple of years ago. And that was good fun. because there's a lot of haunted houses in St Albans as well, apparently. So there you go. There's a little bit off the rails sort of stuff that I've just thrown in gratuitously to this live. So thanks, John. Thanks for the opportunity to change the thread a little bit there. Talk about sunny St Albans, eh? So yes, it is a good place. I like St Albans. Grew up there. Well, I actually grew up in Shenley, which was a lunatic asylum. The Shenley Nutters. I was one of them, apparently. Which will have significance to anyone that grew up in this area, especially during the 70s, 80s, 90s. So there you go, my Jedi friends. The times are a-changing. The times are a-changing. So there you have it. Well, it feels to me, my Jedi friends, that we are reaching a point where I think I've got this message across. I am going to do a live some stage tomorrow. I'm not going to put a time on it now. I'm just going to go with the vibe of it. So I will be helping people to actually make that transition into the energy portal to raise your vibration. And a lot of that might just be having a laugh. It might be talking about serious stuff. It may not be. But this is a really important time to raise your energy, raise your vibration, and focus on what you love. And that's it. There you go. There's the whole video title summarized in a sentence. So do what you love, spend more time doing what you love, have fun, raise your vibration, focus on what you want to do. Don't do anything you don't want to do, and you'll be all right. There you go. Job done. Slam dunk, my Jedi friends. So unless anybody's got anything they want to add, I'll probably tail this off in the next minute or two. And I shall wish you all a great transition into the 8-8 energy portal. And as I say, if you're subscribed to the channel, I'll be doing another live tomorrow, probably later on in the day. I don't know yet. I'm just going to go with a vibe. I'm going to go with a vibe, my Jedi friends, whenever it feels the right time to do it. Might be this time, might be a bit later. Who knows? Nobody knows yet, least of all me. But in either way, thank you all for joining in today. Thank you for the good fun that we've had on the chat. It has definitely been a high vibe. It's been a good laugh. And particular thanks to Lady Love and Tom Mack for the good humour that you brought to this thread today. That certainly cheered me up, and some really good questions by the rest of you. So thank you. That's all good. So Plant Lady, I'll stop hoovering now then. Lol. Thanks for all the laughs. An absolute pleasure. Plant Lady, thank you for joining me as ever. Thanks for being ever present on these little live streams and for riding the lunatics trail with me today. And it has been quite a ride, my Jedi friends. So enjoy the portal, keep your vibe high, and thanks for joining me. And I will see you tomorrow, my Jedi friends. I will see you tomorrow.